Hello
Hello.
again
Hello.
after a long
Hello,
time.
everybody. Hello. And greetings. It's like we're right on the doorstep of like Christmas here in the like Western society, and
That's so
yeah, it's
crazy.
kind of, I want to say no big deal for us. It's just that we noticed that like specialty foods are on sale, which makes us very happy. And it's kind of like you get centered in the feeling of gratitude and the connection to family and friends, that's for sure. And I generally send out yeah, a lot of notes of gratitude and appreciation to people I care about, and telling people I see you, I love you. I tend to do a lot of that. It's not really
For
a
me, it's
religious
always
thing over
this
here.
realization that another year is already over again, and I couldn't take people serious when they told me years ago that when you have kids, like time flies much quicker. And I was like, no, time is constant. Time is always the same. And
No.
they are somehow right.
Yes. Yeah.
And the last
And
weeks were so packed with stuff, especially with searching for seeing new schools and looking for a new school next summer for our daughter, which was really, really interesting because the school system in Germany isn't so bad, or for me, as I saw it, isn't so bad as everybody likes to tell. But maybe I say something completely different in 1 or 2 years.
And again, everything is relative, in compared to what?
Yeah.
It's it's, I mean, I understand. It's like and the parents, it's feeling, I mean, 'cause of course I don't have kids, so everybody's like, shut up, Sharon, you don't know what you're talking about. But I have my friends that are like freaking out, but I can tell that they feel like they've got one shot to get it right, or their kids are going to be fucked up. And and I mean, I understand, you want to do the best for your kids.
And you have this in Germany, you have this feeling every 4 years. So when the kid is 1 to 3 years old, then you have the first one shot to get in the kindergarten you want the kid go to. For a lot of people, this is only like, okay, which is next to my house, so that the ways are as short as possible. We looked more in the Montessori methods, and that we have a specific, or that we get into a specific kindergarten. Then 4 years later, it's again the do we get into the school, the elementary school we would like to get in? Now it's the high school or the further leading school that we want to get into. So that's the feeling of you're not able to influence it anymore. At some point, we can make our decision, and we made our due diligence, and we looked at 5, 6 different schools, and some of those we were really fond of, and we thought of that must be it. They are out of the game already, and those we didn't think of at all in the beginning, they are the favorites now, and that is really interesting to see. And it's calming. It's like, okay, we did our best. We tried everything to find the right one, and we will see where it's going to lead us.
Tell me again. I think you told me this. What is, because Zoe is so cool, and she's just such a unique kid and so smart, and it's like, I mean, some kids have no idea what they want to be or what they want to do. I mean, be or do. It's like, let's be careful with brainwashing kids at a young age. But it's like, what interests her and what is her viewpoint of what she thinks right now that she's going to want to be studying? Because I know in Germany, man alive, you start on
She
a
doesn't know
track
yet.
and you got to keep going.
She doesn't really know yet, and I wouldn't
She
push
doesn't know.
her.
Mhm.
I wouldn't try to push her
Nice.
into anything, because our both of our careers, in air quotes, are really like looking into this, looking into that, then combining things, design. Especially me, I designed my own job in some way.
Mhm.
So I don't want to push her in a direction. If you ask her what would you like to do when you're an adult, or when you are leaving school, I think she would go into a direction like, I want to be a coach or a trainer and train people in martial arts, for example, which could be a possibility. Because she already
She's
did
such a
that
badass.
sometimes, and she already she did not work, but she helped out the trainers in our school,
Right.
with the little kids, and this is something like a co-trainer there. So that's an option definitely for her. I could see her
Yeah, I
totally
could see that.
as a writer, like a storyteller, in words or in pictures. Right now, she's really into mangas and drawing comics, and almost every week she came up with a new comic idea with some of her friends at school and drew some storyboards, and so I think I let her acquire as many skills as possible, and then she will see what she can do with them in 10 years or so.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Because
that's,
none of it goes to waste. But if you
yes.
have parents like you who say, just do everything. What do you like? What do you like about that one? How is it connected to this over here? How can you bring that into this field? You know, what would that look like? And just keep yeah, I'm so envious that she kind of had all her early years in the Montessori school, because it's like that's such a strong base for the self-confidence of advocating for yourself and your own interests.
Mm.
That's just, yeah, it can't get any better than that.
I
So
mean,
it's like
we are
they're
we are doing. I have to start a bit earlier. The agency I work, some people, we start to build our own gaming console. Like, one guy designed it on a Lego, with Lego bricks, and then the other guy started to design the PCBs and sent the plans to China, and let them produce like 5 or 10 of those PCBs, and now we have our own technical device that is a gaming console for retro games, for older console and computer games. And right now we have our advent calendar, where every day from the 1st to 24th of December, everybody of us puts another game into it and write a little bit around it. And so another guy who hasn't to do anything with this side project or this fun free time project of designing the console had the idea to do a hackathon in March in the agency, with friends who also develop a program or design. And so we said, oh, can we capture that and do a little gaming hackathon for the console, so that we can do our own games for the console. And he said, yeah, that sounds cool. Okay, let's do it. And I said, okay, can we bring our kids? So we are going to do a gaming design and program hackathon over a weekend, where we take some of our kids with us, and they can work on ideas and learn a little bit how to program or to design, or the woman who does the accounting with one half of her job in the agency, the other half, she's an illustrator for children's books. So she plans to be there as well to show them how they can do characters or design characters and do the character design and those things. So I'm really looking forward to that and let her try out everything there.
Nice, nice, nice. I like that your company's like bringing in the next generation, on the bringing creativity on board with the kids.
Yeah, at
No,
least show those kids what they can do, and that is one thing I said earlier that I wanted to talk to you about, because I heard in a podcast with a German sociologist and education scientist. And he said some really interesting things and put together like little puzzle pieces that went my brain go like. Do you know the PISA study? Have you ever heard about the PISA study? It's an international study.
I don't know by the name. Go tell me what it is, and then I tell you whether I've heard of it and don't remember the name.
It's an international study about the quality of education in kids in different countries. When it came, I think the first time the PISA study came out was 25 years ago, and then it was all over the news in Germany. Because they thought we are das Land der Denker und Dichter, the land of poets and thinkers, and we were in so many 20th places in almost every disciplines. We were in the last third of this study, and it showed that the educational system is really fucked up. And it was all over the news back then. And the guy started with the whole pension system, and that he said, okay, the pension system in Germany is not going to work anymore, because it was built unlike in the US, for example, or in Scandinavia, for example, where the whole system is since decades also built on funds and on stock market and so on. In Germany, it's like the younger generation that's working pays the pension for the older generation that's not working anymore. Because Konrad Adenauer, the first chancellor of Germany, back then said, people are always going to get children, so the children pay for the elderly. And now,
but that's in a lot of Western countries.
Yes,
we're top heavy.
Yes,
yeah,
and
all Western countries are top heavy right now.
He illustrated that in such a way that he said, okay, just imagine today the biggest cohort of people in Germany are the 60 to 61 year olds. The most people living in Germany are 60 to 61 years old. Now they are working. In 10 years, the largest group of people is going to be retired people. By far the largest group of people. So that is what in election campaigns politicians are going to target. They are going to target the needs of this group, and he said it's already showing that young families and children are almost forgotten by politics, because nobody cares about them, and they are such a small election group. The politics are not going to do anything about them. And then he drew the conclusion or the parallels to the PISA study, because just a few months ago, the last results of the PISA study came out. Turned out they are even worse than 25 years ago. So the German school system is, if you look at the PISA study, is much more fucked up as 25 years ago. But nobody cares. And he is often invited into talk shows, so that's why he's so sure about that. He says, I'm invited into talk shows for migration, for the topic of migration to Germany, because I'm also a migration scientist, or education. And the quotes, the rates, how many people watch the show are like 10 times higher for migration instead of education. That you can't win an election when you're going on schools, when you are talking about education. The people, and he said that's not because those people are bad or ignorant. That he drew a comparison or an analogy that I found really interesting. He said the people often say, yeah, but those grandparents, they love their grandchildren, and of course they care for their grandchildren. They will make the best decision for their grandchildren when there's an election, so we don't have to worry. And said, yeah, no, because people always had mothers. But that didn't make him into feminists. Just because you love your mother doesn't make you into a feminist. Just because you love your grandchildren doesn't make you an activist for children's rights or for education. And I found that so interesting, and it was. I mean, I'm a quite old father. So with 51 and a 10-year-old kid, I'm more on the older side of fathers or parents. So I have a really individual view on that, but getting that explained from a sociologist who just looks at the big picture, that was really interesting.
Well, and this is the thing, is like the Western societies, it just by the nature of cultural norms, it's like it's everything has been fairly immediate, and it's maybe one generation, maybe two, but in other societies it's multi-generational, and so they think way longer term, and they think past themselves. But in Western society, and even now, it's so much more immediate. And it's like it goes hand in hand with being frustrated that our Amazon packages didn't arrive like today and earlier, and why not now, and immediate. And so now we have been trained to, and this is going global with the delivery system. This is the Amazonification of humanity. We are training ourselves to become impatient and be very short-term thinkers. And so it's to be able to push back. And again, this is where it comes in, the people who are neurodivergent. It's like the world needs us to push back on this and to really stand against the tide of immediacy thinking. And say, well, what about this? What about these generations? What about these people? What about the marginalized? What about because everything right now is so tight and mainstream, and everything is being built and programmed for that. So it's like, well, what now? What, this is why it's so, again, you hear me to say it on here, everybody, on repeat. We just should just put it on repeat, put it at the beginning and the end of every podcast about the Jane McGonigal, imaginable. And it's like teaching people, this is the Institute for Future Thinking. It's like there needs to be groups that are like think tanks that are absolutely practicing all the time, and that getting everybody almost to a tipping point, changing the mindset, because I mean, don't get me wrong, it's like having, being able to have something delivered to your doorstep instead of, you're thinking about the footprint. It's like, okay, there's a lot of packages on a truck. So that's, if you think 10 houses where people aren't going out in their car and it's just one truck delivering the thing. But people say, yeah, but they're always on the road and delivering stuff. And it's like, I get it, but if you don't have to go out now, it's out of balance. But it's like, there are good things about technology. There are good things about certain services that we have now. They haven't, but again, it's so young. If you look at the timeline of when this came about and now, I love the German term Augenblick, which is an eye blink. It's an Augenblick. in history. It is nothing. The time and the development of people being able to get goods. It's like, for example, the families who live in food deserts, where the nutrition, single parents, single mothers who can't leave their jobs and go get fresh produce. But it's like there are delivery systems. Now, granted, it's like, well, you got to wait again. You got to wait for the price to come down. You have to wait for things to work themselves out. But we've got the systems in place to serve everybody. I find that absolutely phenomenal. It's not perfect. And it's not, we've got a lot of work to do, but the systems are in place.
I just remember again. I thought you were finished.
It's the thing of like, you have to. I kind of was, but it was, I was going to tie it all together. But it's the thing of it's hard to be patient in this era, because you're like, everything that somebody does hurts somebody else. And now that we have all this awareness and we're all connected with the internet, you're able to see in real time of every action that you take, everything that you do, everything that you consume, everything that it's going, there's a price. The manufacturing, so the thing is that what do we do with that? How do you get people to wrap their minds around that and say, okay, what do we do for the future? But it's like, it gets bogged down in the discussing, because it moves so exponentially fast. There's no downtime to sit and absorb and change, one thing. There's so many things that need changing. Yeah, so I'll stop there on that. But it's so complex. It's very complex.
I had two thoughts. The one thing is the immediate gratification, or getting things immediately. That was quite funny on the weekend. We had the belated kid's birthday on Saturday. So our daughter got lots of books, because she chose a lot of books that she would like to have. And when we dropped her friend at home, we had a short drive to our home, and she said like, "Oh, can you give me this one book out of the trunk? I would like to start reading it." And my girlfriend was like, no, it's too dark. No, that's too dark to read. And I realized, so we went laser tag, and this laser tag halls are really dark. So I took a flashlight with me. And I was at the trunk, and I gave her the book, and I gave her the flashlight, and said, "Here, now it's not dark anymore. You can read." And my girlfriend was quite pissed, because she said, "You're overruling me again." And I wanted to give her a great opportunity to learn how to be patient until we are at home. And I was like, yeah, and you just said it's too dark, and that was a problem, and I solved that problem. What's the big deal? And she said, yeah, but it would really be a good opportunity. And I said, she's going to have a lot of opportunities to learn to be patient, but not if you don't have to. If you have a solution, then you don't need to be patient. I don't know if you have to be patient just for the being patient's sake. That was an interesting discussion, because
good question.
Like, but she meant like, yeah, no, because you never learned that, and you, as a kid, you also always got what you wanted, or got it really quickly. So you're not really trained in be patient, and that's right. She's right.
Fair point.
And I said, yeah, that's right. But I'm really good at finding solutions to get the things I want in the time I want them. At least I try everything, like a delayed Amazon package. I know what I can do to maybe, if I really need it, to get it today. Like following the driver. Drive up to his next stop and say, "Hey, you drove past my house. Can I get the parcel?" or driving to the central
I
package
think
station,
the
whatever.
important thing is if you can't have what you want, or I'll use the we thing. If when we can't have what we want, are we having a meltdown? Because I think this is because it's the self-regulation and it's the self-calming capacity. So is there because you can have patience if you have to, like you said, but what if people can't? And then they are having a meltdown, because that is not, that's not a healthy thing for anybody, to bypass the learning on that.
The meltdown is for me and for my daughter, the things that make us melt down for a short amount of time is more the being disappointed. It's not more it's not the I don't get what I want now, but it's more the disappointing thing that something didn't work out as planned. You look forward to something.
That's
And then it doesn't happen, and then if it's unfair, that is a bit harder then. But normally it's more the disappointment for 10 minutes or so, like, fuck, and I was really looking forward to that. Okay, then I get it tomorrow, and I find something else to do. So I think it's not in an unhealthy region, or that anybody gets a meltdown and gets angry or so. It's more like so, I was really looking forward to it. What I was angry
but that's important.
Yeah.
It's what is the let's see, the rebound, the resilience time, the resilience time from when we feel the disappointment to when we're okay. And so that component is actually more important than, because everybody's going to feel disappointment, and trying to keep people from feeling disappointment is ridiculous, because that's life.
Yeah.
But it's like, how do we have the skills? How do we teach the skills, and how do we learn the skills of the rebound and the resilience when we are disappointed? Yeah.
And the other thing,
hey, I want to switch. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted
I want you to tell me about the 3D printer.
Definitely. I just wanted to tell a short story which ties into the 3D printing as well. Is that I met a startup entrepreneur who I think it was the guy from Jimdo, a big website building platform. And after he sold it, he specialized in a social startup, and he designed a greenhouse, the cheapest possible greenhouse that could feed a family of 6, I think, in like desert regions, and it was subsidized by him on one part, and then it was the giving people who wanted that like a microcredit of $200 or so. So really small sum for us, a really small sum for those people, a big commitment, but not something that they couldn't achieve. He said it wasn't that much about the money. I think the whole thing cost about $1,000 or $1,500 or so. And he said it wasn't about them paying for the thing. It was more the commitment, because they the valuing of this thing when you paid one part of it, and if you felt like, okay, it's it took me some time to pay it off, like a year or 1.5 years, I think, on average was it, that people needed to pay the thing off, and giving those families in different regions a possibility to grow more food for themselves and for the family, or to sell it. And he said most of those regions they can grow in that year long, because it's warm enough there and they don't have any winters. and I have to look up if this startup is still existing and what he's doing now with it. But a lot of
And
those
so, if I
parts,
understand correctly, they sell like greenhouses.
they produce greenhouses,
Mm-hmm.
and they sell it. But I don't remember where the biggest part of the money comes from, because the people who need the greenhouse or use the greenhouse in the end result would never come up with the money that it costs completely to buy it, because that for poorer families in poor countries, that wouldn't be affordable. So there was some kind of social business model in between that made it not profitable, but cover the cost for him, and on the other side kept the whole greenhouse as cheap as possible for the people who needed it. And that was something I thought about when you were talking earlier on about the people who live in deserts, that there are people who find those solutions. And he told the story how he came up with the design and how he tested it. And
well, hold on a second. You misunderstood. You misunderstood what I meant. That's called a food desert, not the actual desert. For example, there are places, definitely in the United States, where developers do not find it attractive to put in really good fresh food markets. So they're more like convenience stores, and it's highly processed food.
Okay.
This is a food desert. And so that
it's not a literal desert.
And people without a car, no, it's a term used that you can't get good fresh fruits and vegetables. Everything is processed food from convenience type stores, and it really hits the regions where politicians, have zoned, and big companies won't put big markets in fresh produce markets, or stores that carry a lot of fresh produce, because they think, it's not worth it for us because these people don't have money, so we're not going to develop anything over here. So people won't invest, companies won't invest in it, politicians won't zone it, they won't attract people, because they say, this is, well, in the United States, our president, it hurts to say that, the president at the moment, the giant orange Cheeto, and but he it's like the languaging and him talking about shithole states or shithole countries, and always they're regions with low income people of color, immigrant communities. And he's deemed them and is naming it, of less value. So it's bringing down, property values. It's bringing down education systems. It's, it's a chain reaction. Anyway, don't get me going. But this is what's called, is what I was saying, is a food desert. Because people who don't have, for example, reliable transportation, so they have to take public transportation, which in the United States is just ridiculously unuseful, and so if you are commuting like that, it's very difficult for a single parent having to deal with childcare and schools and all of this to put fresh fruits and vegetables on the table, because you can't. Where are you going to go to get it? And there's no place in the neighborhood that you can acquire healthy food. This is a major problem. Yeah.
Okay. Didn't know that.
Didn't mean to. Yeah. That's something that there's a lot of. This is why I like because it's like an urban area, not urban, suburban city areas, that it's all like concrete and buildings, and it's like where are you going to go to get the fresh food? And a lot of programs are starting where they're urban farmers,
Mm.
I keep running urban, suburban. I get them mixed up.
And then there's
Anyway,
rural as
so
well.
they're
What is
using
what
like
is what is
median
rural?
strips to rural is in like more country.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
They get strips.
And
What strips?
like the in the city and like on the sidewalk, and they have little patches where they have like trees or plants or whatever, but a lot of them are unused, and it's they end up just people dumping trash in them, and in the center of streets sometimes there's a greener, but generally it's a lot of weeds, and so people are reclaiming in certain neighborhoods, and it's just they're awesome. These people that are getting youth programs started in urban farming, um, and abandoned lots, and so they'll try and contact the owners and say, hey, this is just standing here. Can we start a little farm thing here?
Or they even
And
don't
then
ask
just
and do this
educating.
guerrilla gardening or guerrilla farming
Well, the
on those
guerrilla
patches.
gardening is that's the thing about the traffic islands and things that are in the middle, in between the streets, or, and on the sides of the streets. Yeah, you can do more guerrilla gardening. Whereas if it's something is an abandoned lot, that's somebody's land, and you can get
Yeah.
sued.
Okay.
Sure, they do it like that, but overnight they can come in and rip everything out.
Yeah.
They don't have to inform you. They don't have to, which really is shitty, but and has happened. Sometimes the people who own the property, they get on board, and yeah, so good, good things have come out of it, but it's educating the kids, and sometimes it's like the kids, it's the first time they've ever had fresh vegetables. They're like, oh, I don't like it. And it's like, well, have you ever tasted it?
Mm-hmm.
And the people who are doing like cooking and presenting, but if the kids are growing, so it's their own food, then they're interested in it. And then they want to taste it. But it's the like, what do you do? It has to come from a grassroots level, because the politicians and the people who are making the decisions and the big business, they're doing nothing. Yeah, it's a rare politician it's like you were saying earlier, it's like the people who are the biggest mass of voters, what do they care about? And so the people who are really doing the grassroots work, I mean, they're heroes as far as I'm concerned. Re-educating.
And I'm wondering.
But it's like that thing of living outside the norm and pushing the edges.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm wondering how long it's going to take until things like, or technologies like 3D printing, for example, are able to turn that completely around, so that you don't have to wait anymore for politicians or at least for politics on a real high level, like nationwide or statewide, that you don't need those anymore, but you can do something in your town or in your quarter or in your community to help each other and to make at least a difference where you are living. I think
when you say how long will it take, I mean, you're talking. Okay, I'll give you a good example. There are parts of the world now that are, it's very contentious. There's different levels of civil war happening, and that are, I don't want to say dangerous to go to. It's a volatile situation where, 100, 200, 300 years ago, it was a booming capital of the world. When you talk about like the Silk Road, for example. So when you say, how long will it take something to turn around? It's like, haha, good question. Something that's thriving. It's like watching, the fall of the Roman Empire. Are we watching that? What's the next country that's going to be in power? It's hard, and people, when they're going down, if the United States is losing its power on the world, because it's like nobody's ever going to be in power forever. That's ridiculous. And that's, history tells us that no, it changes hands for one reason or another. But the countries that are in the process of their decline, number one, they don't want to admit it. And number two, they're going to go down kicking and screaming. Nobody hands over power willingly. So the thing is that it's more than a few generations of when something will change. And when one thing changes and gets better, another thing, it's horrible for them. So there's always going to be something out of balance. It's like good news, bad news, folks.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're immortal, you're going to see it play out. But all of us right now that are alive right now, you're not going to see it play out. It's too long of a game. It's a long game. Yeah, the best thing, that's why I always say, I know this sounds really bleak for a year-end thing, happy holidays, everybody.
Okay, what's coming?
No, but I mean, it sounds bleak. It sounds bleak, but it's like the perspective thing. But this goes back to the thing we were talking about at one of the last conversations we had. It's terrifying to contemplate the fact that, it's like everybody that we're what's the word I'm looking for? Not immaterial, inconsequential. Okay. It's like everybody wants to be important. Everybody wants to be, remembered and immortalized. And, what have I done? Have I left my mark? And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, just let go of it. And just be a good person. And think about, what did you do good today? Is there, it's the micro ripple effect that really matters. Now, if you've got a lot of money and you can, be generous and help in certain ways, do it. But the thing that is, in our time right now is the amount of the ego and the greed that we're having to watch. And so the competitiveness of that is just out of control in this era. And so it's like, but people are like, but what can I do? How can I be remembered? And I'm like, but what if you don't? What if nobody remembers you? Being inconsequential. But a lot of people, that scares the pants off of them. And it's like, okay, but why? Why? Why not do something anonymous? Why do you need to be remembered? Why? It's like asking those questions, giving anonymously, doing things anonymously, practicing that. It's like, it's doing something for the greater good. It's the people who are doing things for like Trump right now is putting his name on everything. And it's like, it's funny, it's sad and it's funny. And it's just like, oh, for God's sakes, but you see somebody desperately trying to hang on to the immortality and desperately trying to frame something, but it's ego. It's, the illusion of it, the building monuments. It's like, what exactly good have you? That's the good you have done.
That's a great question on the one hand, and on the other, it ties into something I wanted to ask you anyway. I have to explain the situation. It has to do with the school situation.
Right.
We see a little problem in the elementary school now. So since it's over in half a year, we don't do anything about that anymore. We say, okay, we think it's going to be okay. And we looked into some schools as well. It's an experimental school in Bielefeld, but it's also here for 50 years. So a lot of people want to get in there. I think I already taught you about this kind of school. It's like the next level of the Montessori school from the methods they are using there. On the one hand side, it's really cool. And I tried a lot to get our daughter into this school in the last 1.5 years. Then I visited the school, and we got some students showed us around after a lecture or a little keynote of the head of the school. And I asked the students, okay, when is a good moment to join here? When are people leaving the school here? Do you know that, or have you experienced that? And they said, yeah, it's around 7th or 8th grade that many students are leaving the school. So, oh, okay. Why do you think around that class? And said, yeah, mostly they feel not challenged enough, and they want to go to real school. That's their words. They want to go to real school, which is harder and which is more challenging. I said, okay, interesting. And why are you still here then?
Interesting.
I asked the four that showed us around. Said, why are you here then still? And said, yeah. It's chilly now, and it's nice to be here, and it's relaxed. And but after the 10th grade, we are trying to go on a more challenging high school as well. But until 10th class, we like to stay here. So okay, interesting. And then I talked to the people whose kids are already there on school. One is in 4th grade as well as our daughter is, and from the other family, the one kid is in 3rd, and the other kid is in 6th or 7th grade. And all of them have the problem with one of the most interesting methods of this school. So they have, like in our Montessori school, they have in each class 3 to 4, sometimes 5 inclusion kids. So kids that have some kind of challenge,
learning challenge,
or some kind of form of autism or ADHD. Sometimes have some kind of handicap or disability. I don't know how the politically correct word in English is. And all the people I talked to said that at the moment their kids are really frustrated in their class because they want to learn, they want to focus, they want to concentrate, they talk to their pedagogues and teachers, but there are 3 to 4 kids in this class who are always interrupting, always noisy, always sometimes even mobbing other kids or being some kind of violent or screaming. So they are already thinking of getting their kids out of the school, which is other people would kill to get their kids into school. And I said, ooh, okay, that is really interesting, because we are at this point now in the Montessori school as well, that it's almost some kind of unfair. I'm a bit more relaxed because I see how they deal with it, and I experience often how they are dealing in our school with that. But my girlfriend is much clearer and much harder there, and she's like, it cannot be that everything goes into kids who need support, but the kids who need challenge and the kids who want to learn are left over then, or left behind. And everybody just cares about those who need support, and nobody cares about those kids who want to learn and want to challenge and have some advantages. but because they have some advantages of what kind of what kind ever, they are left behind in some kind, and that led us to the decision that we are looking only in schools where this education scientist I told you before says that is one of the biggest flaws in the German school system. So our school system is like divided into three types of schools. It's a bit more complex in the last years, but to make it easy, it's like you have a lower school, a middle school, and a higher school. So the people from poorer families who can't afford to help their kids, for example, they often have to go to lower school, or migrant kids have to go to lower schools. Then there's this middle part where it's mixing a little bit, and then you have the higher schools, where people who were, or kids who were lucky in the lottery, or have parents who invest themselves a lot of time into their education, send their kids, because it's much harder there. I think for our daughter, I think and I hope that it's not going to be really hard for her, because she visited some of those schools now, and she liked it in everyone, but she has her favorites, and said, I wanted to go like there because I liked it there. It was really nice there. I felt really comfortable. I like the people, and normally this education scientist said every country that was really good in this education study had only this middle school, so to say, like American high schools, where every kid goes. Everybody goes to the same type of school, and it's not divided. And in Germany, it is still like this Prussian military system. Like you have the lower soldier ranks, then you have the middle ranks, and then you have the officers, the high ranks. That's how the German school system is organized still. And he said the most successful countries have only one school. And have really smart methods to get every kid through the school. And we had some parents or some people who said, okay, why don't you send your kid to this middle school? It's the best one. I said, it's the best one in those countries, whereas only that one. But why should I send my kid to the school in the middle when she has the potential and really wants to go to the higher school? It's not her job to change the system.
Right.
And that's something I would like to ask. What do you think about that? What would you do, or what would you decide?
It depends on the kid. It depends on the school. Yeah, I completely agree with you that it's not our.
It depends. In my question, it depends not on the kid. Sorry, if it doesn't depend on the kid. So if it just depends on, do you want to do the best for the kid, or do you want to do the best for the system? So would you send a
But
kid?
that's again, it's you asked me the question, I'll answer it exactly the same.
Okay.
I am not going to be responsible for changing the system, because if I were to drop off the face of the earth, my participation and my kids' participation will have not changed it one millimeter. It has to come from within the system, and the education system has to change. But it's like, I'm not going to take a hit, for just on some not valuation. I don't need to make myself a martyr and a model for something like that.
Yeah.
And so it's not like it's not necessarily a selfish thing to do, selfish in a bad way. But it's like, if you're going to take advantage of the system that is presently, Now, if you're somebody, a politician within the system and you've got kids, this could be another thing where it's like, okay, if you're pushing for reform, if you're pushing for something, but it's like you'd have to be so far up in the system. You'd have to be, so it's like it's really not going to make a difference. What it's going to take is, exactly what you were describing. It's like the Germans going, hey, wait a minute. What's the wake up call that the scores are low and that society is not advancing as they would have liked. And it's going to take some bravery, but coming from the top, the policymakers in the education system, they're going to have to change from that aspect. As it is now, it's like people try, saying, okay, you have to stop smoking. It's up to the people to stop smoking. It's like, fuck that. Make some laws or do some things. This comes into, you could use as an example what Australia is doing right now with the social media for kids up to 16 years of age. You talk about a brave thing to do. Brave/crazy. That depends on who you ask. Because there are certain kids who are already making a living, making a huge income. It's not the majority. The majority are probably / definitely suffering. There's a handful of kids who are really blossoming and doing something amazing with social media. But again, what are you going to do? It's like you have to make the policies. How do you deal with the exceptions? I think kids in that aspect, that the parents of kids or the kids themselves should apply, for exception. But it's taking a big paintbrush and painting the whole thing and not allowing anybody to deviate is also not the answer. So it's fascinating right now watching this social experiment, because that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, how's this going to pan out? Are they going to turn it around? Are the next people coming into office going to be like, you know what? That was a stupid thing to do. And it might be. But it's like, we don't know, because it's all a big social experiment right now. It's impossible. This is the thing, coming back to the immediacy thing. People are like 2 years out and they're going, nope, it's a failed experiment. And it's like, no, you can't, you can't possibly know in 6 months and 2 years and even 5 years whether something is, you need the distance of time. You need the perspective. You need like multi-generations. Unfortunately, you're talking about the mental health of, our kids and grandchildren are at stake with this whole, but the whole internet. Are you kidding me? It's the greatest / worst social experiment, but we're in it. There is no going back. There is no going back. Even though pulling the plug on social media, to a lot of people looks like we're not going back. We're going to go back to the dark ages. How can you deprive the kids and the competition and the world? And it's like, interesting. But at the same time, the people who have built the systems, they don't let their kids use social media.
Yeah.
So that should tell you something.
Yeah.
That should tell you something. And so the bravery and the audacity for a country and a government to say, you know what? Nuh-uh. So, and on one hand, I'm like delighted that this is happening, because it's going to give us a comparison model.
Yeah.
Now, it might come at the expense of these kids. We don't know yet. So the only thing we can do is remain curious and open-minded and try not to be frustrated and try not to be, impatient. But, asking people to do that is also kind of funny, because it's like you're asking something that's just not feasible in this era,
I'm interested.
Calm down and wait.
Yeah.
It's
I'm really interested what's going to show in Australia. How long and how they are able to enforce it, for example. I mean, in all the schools, you visited, they have a no smartphone or no mobile phone in the school policy.
Yep.
So
that's absolutely a good idea.
The rule was, or the main rule in most of them was, you are allowed to have a smartphone. You are not allowed to use it or carry it openly in school. So from 7:50 when school starts to 3:30 or so or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you are not allowed to take your phone out of your backpack, only if it's an emergency. So I think that helps a lot to give the kids this device for communication, because it's the distance for one thing. And I mean, my question always was like, okay, what is with smart watches? Because in summer with the t-shirt you can't cover those up, and they always were like, we didn't really think about that yet. So you guys, come on. German school system.
Right.
Those smartphones are around for 10 years and you haven't thought about that now? Okay. Okay, what's your policy on that then? And they were like, as long as the kids are not running around and being on their telephone watches all the time and calling people, it's allowed to use them. If we can, or if you see somebody who is always breaking the rules, we might just get them, and they get them back at the end of the day or in the end of the week.
Yeah.
And if there are going to be any tests written, then they have to get the watches as well. They collect all the smartphones and they collect all the watches, so that they can't be used for cheating. What's totally fine for me.
Yeah.
But also it's important for me. It's important to know that my daughter can call me and reach me if there's any need, and that I can reach her as well.
We didn't. We went to school and there's no contact.
Yeah, but we didn't have such. Yeah, but
if the parents.
We didn't have such tight schedules. That was always my argument as well. That I said, but it worked for us as well 40 years ago. But as somebody who has to manage the schedule and manage to pick her up on time, for example, and I'm quite organized, but still I can run late, or I love to do this podcast 15 minutes longer, then I know on the way to school when I pick her up, I have to call her and tell her, okay, you have to be ready, because then we are in a hurry.
Right, but she's already out of class when you're calling her.
Yes, of course. I just wanted to explain.
During class.
I just wanted to explain. And if something happens during class, I can still call the secretary, and the secretary will walk to the class and get the kids out of class if I need to contact her.
Right.
So there's always a way to contact the kids.
Right. Like it was before.
Yeah.
And in that aspect, it's like, again, the people who have built this stuff, they're not letting their kids use the technology and the social media, and because they recognize that it's built to suck up the attention, so that your mind is never at rest, and so that because there's no deep learning possible without a brain at rest. You have to. There has to be a downtime. And there has to be boredom, and there has to be these components. This is how humans fucking absorb information. So it's like being in a class, being in a school all day and not being allowed to use your phone. It's like your parents can still contact the school. Yeah.
And that is something that,
if they need to.
That would be great if my girlfriend would be here now, because I didn't come up with that thought on the weekend. That's something that I deliberately train with our daughter, without knowing, without her knowing that's a training for her. But if she plays computer games, and I tell her, okay, now it's finished. You had like half an hour of gaming time, and now it's over. Of course, she is like, oh, 10 minutes more, and I only this, and I don't. No,
of course.
No, you can't. No, it's or if it's too early. If she, like when she was sick last week, and at 8 o'clock in the morning or so, she went like, hey, when you go working, can I play then? I was like, nope, too early. Find something else to do. Yeah, but it's so bored. Yeah, it's good to be bored. It's great to be bored because then you come up with cool ideas. Have cool ideas. In the afternoon, we can talk about gaming, but not now. And so she was pissed for 5 minutes. Then she was bored for 2 minutes. And then she started reading, or she started drawing, or she started writing, or I don't know. She had ideas to entertain herself. And that is something that I let her train. And as parents, you have to learn to withstand the frustration of your kid. And you have to...
And it's like, it's okay for a kid to be pissed off.
Yes.
And it's
course.
Like, it's like my mom used to say, she said, she would say to us, we were like, yeah, but we're not happy with that. And something, but we never argue with her because she was known around all our friend group as the once no mommy. Because there was no asking again. Absolutely not. But she didn't do it all the time, and she gave us a reason. But it's like, even if it was no, not right now, we trusted her because she didn't always say no. But but she would say, I'm here to be your mother, not your friend. And I will say things that you won't be happy with. And she goes, that's the deal. That's my job. But she wouldn't, when you tell that to a kid, kids understand that. It's like, I'm angry. My sister was against her, but for me, it was completely logical. And she would say, it's it's not my job to be liked. It's my job to be your parent. And it's like, yeah, you're going to be angry, and that's fine. And I said, but, you need to learn how to deal with that. But that's how she would talk with us. Which is an amazing thing to learn as a kid. But the thing, you're allowed to be upset because other people that I know, when they grew up, it's like their parents were like, no, stop being angry, stop being, and it's just like, but you're allowed to have the feelings. But then what do you do with those feelings? That's the thing. But if it's modeled, it's like what you did with Zoe. It's like, okay, then she was pissed off for a couple minutes, and then it's like, it's good. Be pissed off. Now what are you going to do? But that's where they learn it. That's where you learn it. That's where you learn the self-regulation.
And she's really good at self-regulating.
You pass through the phases.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the beginning, no kids are good at self-regulating. It's the nature of toddlers. That's the ego thing. But if you give in to a toddler all the time, they don't learn how to self-regulate. That gets out of hand really quickly. And you're not doing them any favor, when they're getting older. Because an adult toddler, there's nothing worse than an adult toddler. There's one in the White House right now.
That's exactly what I just thought. There's one in the White House right now.
If anybody wants proof, there you go. There's a giant toddler in the White House. Look how great I am. Look how great I am. Look at my name. We're going to put my name on it. Aren't I wonderful? Aren't I big? Aren't I a big boy? Aren't I a good boy? I should win the Nobel Peace Prize. It's like, it makes me laugh that everybody's having to give the guy for FIFA from the world, gave him a participation trophy. It's like, are you kidding me?
No, not really. Really? That's funny.
He gave him an award.
That's funny.
They made up an award to give to him. No, they did. The president from FIFA. It's like, okay, dude, your face is, the brown nosing going on is, it's, yeah.
Damn.
I mean, it's, yeah, you gotta laugh, you just gotta laugh because it's like the transparency. It's like, the level of the emperor. Look at the emperor's gorgeous new clothes. And, it's the whole emperor's new clothes all over again. You're watching it and you're like, wow, look at that. Look at that. How is that guy not, how could he do that with a straight face? It's crazy.
That's funny.
Craziness. Yeah. No, there's just like, no, we're in the times that we're in, they're just fascinating and daunting and so frustrating. It's like it's so much all at once, but fascinating, but ridiculous, but it's, yeah. You have to remain fascinated, and at the same time having a foot in both worlds of being fascinated and frustrated.
Yeah.
You talk about self-regulation. It's this dance that we have to do in this era is really challenging. For sure. Well, that was interesting. We talked all over about a lot of weird stuff.
All over the place, yeah.
somewhat connected, maybe. And because we didn't do the intro, we will do the extro. And say thanks for joining us today on a somewhat strange session. And yeah, we'll meet next week. Do we meet next week?
Oh yeah, do we
coming
meet
up on
next week? That's a good question.
22nd.
We could.
The 22nd.
The little one is at home already. My girlfriend is working. I kind of have a vacation and days off, so we could do another one next week. Yeah.
Okay. Let's tentatively set it in the calendar, and if you have to do something, let me know. And because that's how we roll, folks. We're flexible here. Yeah. And so we hope to see you again and join us in our cozy recording caves, where we
Next
always
week.
dive into some interesting topic and rabbit hole.
Yeah, sometimes I like the all over the place episodes the most.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it is. But when you ask me the question about education, it's hard to, I mean, everything for me is like wrapped in behavioral science. So it's like, in the perspective, the a historical perspective, but I kind of, and it's funny because I've gotten recently into a number of conversations where people are kind of stressed out. And maybe it is because of the end of the year. People ask me questions like that. Well, what do you think about this? And I can tell they're concerned. And, it's like, is it and the in-between lines question is it ever going to get any better? And I'm like, well, good news and bad news, It's like, do you really want to know? You sure you want to ask me? Are you sure about that?
If you look in a historical way, then it's so much better, and I prefer to live in these times so much more than 100 years ago. So for me,
but at the same time, it's just, I think the thing that's difficult in this era is because we're online and because it's just 24/7 in your face about like all the stuff that's going wrong, and of course with the media doing its thing, and that I think the younger generation is better at just kind of blocking it out and not listening, whereas our generation, we don't have the skills to block this stuff out. So it's impossible not to, death squirrel. It's like, it's the triggering, constant triggering of death squirrels, pulling our attention. And so there's no mechanism or tools or skills that we've been taught to deal with that level of it, of this era, whereas the younger generations are being raised in it. And now, granted, there's a lot of damage that they're suffering with the social media stuff and the constant comparison stuff that a lot of us don't have to deal with or haven't had to deal with. So, or we have a base where that doesn't affect us as much. But each generation has its thing that, yeah, and it plays upon the particular fears of a particular age group and demographic. Again, it's,
I put a song
the advice
into the show notes from the German band Fury in the Slaughterhouse. It's called "Every Generation Got Its Own Disease," so that fits perfectly in there.
So true. So true. Cool. Well, thanks for joining, everybody.
All right, then. Until next week.
I would say let's think of a thing. I would like to think of a theme for next week in terms of. We'll talk about it. We'll exchange messages. We'll let you all know.
Yeah, we'll do. All right.
Cool.
So I stopped the recording now because I hope that I can upload it right after it's finished. Bye.
Cool. Bye.